Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. The government has admitted the country's economy was hardest hit since the start of the pandemic. That is why the palace insists on the medical society the importance of reigniting our economic activities in order to recuperate from a huge loss. Argel Geducos has this report.
Ang problema po, wala na tayong pang-ayuda. Kung ang tao naman hindi makakapagtrabaho, baka mamatay dahil sa kawalan ng hanap buhay. So unless si Dr. Leachon po ay pwede magbigay ng ayuda sa lahat ng nais niya na mapasailalim pa sa MECQ ng 2 linggo, hindi na po talaga kakayanin.
This was the blunt reaction of presidential spokesperson Harry Roque when asked about a suggestion from the medical community to extend the current lockdown beyond August 18. During a press briefing Tuesday, Roque was insisting to the medical society, particularly to public health expert Dr. Tony Leachon, that the funds of the government are now limited to reigniting the economic activity which was badly hit since the start of the pandemic. Leachon, meanwhile, made it clear with President Duterte on why he was persistent on a specific matter during his time with the government. Leachon was a special consultant of the National Task Force against COVID-19 during the early part of the pandemic but later on resigned middle of June.
When I talked to the President, sabi ko sa kanya, Sir President, pasensya na po kayo kasi my opinion may be different from the UP group and Secretary Galvez and Secretary Anyo. Kasi Secretary Anyo and Galvez is GCQ with severe localized lockdown. The UP MECQ. Kasi I'm coming from a position na I don't consider economy as a factor kasi doktor ako. When the patient comes into the clinic at ang diagnosis ko ganito, ito talagang ideal treatment sa'yo. I will not think na mahirap ka and therefore, I will try to pattern my treatment dahil mahirap ka. Kung mahirap ka, mura yung gamot, hindi ko papagawa sa yung 2D echo, hindi kita papa-angiogram. Yun ang sakit mo eh.
The president, though, has made an appeal to the public to be mindful of their well-being as the government's coffers could not afford to sustain its social amelioration program.
So, do not be surprised if there's a rise. One, yung ayaw talagang maniwala that for any reason they want to get out and well, I don't know what you want to accomplish, but if it's food for your family, medyo tatanggapin ko yan kasi hindi ko na kayo mapakain lahat eh.
Duterte placed Metro Manila, Bulacan, Cavite, Rizal, and Laguna under MECQ until August 18, following an appeal made by medical frontliners for a timeout amid the surge in coronavirus infections. For MB Now, this is Argel Geducos reporting.
President Duterte announced his intention to be the frontliner for Sputnik V Russian vaccine as soon as it arrives in the country. But according to Palace spokesperson Harry Roque, the vaccine still needs to pass through the regulations here in the Philippines. General Cabiling tells us more.
While it was highly endorsed by President Duterte, the vaccine said to be perfected by Russia as the answer to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic would still need to pass through the regulations in the Philippines. This was disclosed by presidential spokesperson Harry Roque during his regular press briefing Tuesday. Roque said, there are existing laws particularly on the entry of any type of medicine in the country and that this will not exempt the vaccine purportedly developed by Russia as the antidote for the virus.
Hindi naman po, no? Ang sabi po ni Presidente, nagpapasalamat siya. He is grateful that sa offer ng Russia. Pero sinabi rin niya na kinakailangan din nating sundin ang batas na umiiral sa Pilipinas, no? Dahil nga po walang gamot na hindi po pwedeng ibigay sa publiko na hindi dumadaan sa FDA. Ang FDA naman po hindi mag-i-issue ng permit to utilize isang gamot kung wala po yung clinical trial. So dadaan din po yan sa proseso natin yan at naintindihan naman po ng mga Russians yan dahil may batas po kasi no? Unless the FDA declares nga an emergency, compassionate use, din po pwede. No?
Recently, President Rodrigo Duterte volunteered to try the vaccine in a bid to show his confidence in Russia's ability to discover the COVID-19 remedy.
It was a generous offer for which we have to be thankful for. No? Tayong mga Pilipino naman, pulaan na tayo pero ang utang na loob ay isa talagang pinibigyan natin ng halaga. So tingin ko naman, inarticulate ni Presidente yung gratefulness at yung utang na loob natin dahil sila ang pinakaunang nag-offer ng vaccine sa atin. No? At hindi makakalimutan ng sambayan ng Pilipino yung kabutihang loob na yan.
On Tuesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the registration of a vaccine for the coronavirus amid continued concern over its safety and effectiveness. From MB Now, this is Jeneline Cabiling reporting.
Department of Health spokesperson Maria Rosario Vergere revealed that the Department of Science and Technology is set to meet today with the Russian Research Institute who developed the said first ever vaccine against COVID-19. DOST will still also try to learn more about the vaccine developed by the Russian Institute. Arjil Gedukos has the details.
The Department of Science and Technology is set to meet today with the Russian Research Institute that has said to have developed the first ever vaccine against COVID-19. This was revealed by Department of Health spokesperson Maria Rosario Vergere, who said that the DOST will try to learn more about the vaccine developed by the Gamaleya Research Institute of Epidemiology and Microbiology.
So ngayong araw na to, merong scheduled meeting na ang Department of Science and Technology with itong ang manufacturer from Russia, yung Gamaleya. So sila yung nag-o-offer nitong vaccine na ito coming from Russia. So itong ating bakuna na ito, itong Gamaleya, itong bakuna na ito ay nasa phase 3 clinical trial. So ang pag-uusapan ngayon with the Department of Science and Technology, how we can possibly have the clinical trial here also in the Philippines. So titingnan natin kung ano yung magiging resulta ng pag-uusap between Gamaleya and the Department of Science and Technology.
On Tuesday, President Vladimir Putin announced that Russia had become the first country in the world to grant regulatory approval to a COVID-19 vaccine after less than 2 months of human testing. Putin also dismissed concerns and unanswered questions over its safety and effectiveness, saying the vaccine was safe and that it had even been administered to one of his daughters. In the Philippines, President Duterte himself volunteered to take the vaccine first to test its safety. Meantime, Vergere assures several tests are ongoing in the country in an effort to find the right medication against the novel coronavirus.
Last week, nag-meeting kami with the Department of Science and Technology along with their vaccine experts panel. Present nila ng vaccine experts panel sa amin itong mga iba't ibang mga bakuna na nasa stage na ng phase 3 ng clinical trial across the globe para makita namin yung mga characteristics, makita namin kung ano yung make ng bakuna, makita rin namin kung ano yung mga certain na na-identify na ngayon na maaring maging disadvantage and also the advantages of these different vaccines. So pinakita nila, pinaliwanag sa amin, and also meron na rin silang parang talaan ang Department of Science and Technology para makita how many can a specific manufacturer of these vaccines on phase 3 clinical trial can produce in a year.
For MV Now, this is Arjil Gedukos reporting.
Additional routes for more than 900 traditional jeepneys in the capital region will be opened by the Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board once the modified lockdown is lifted. Based on the Memorandum Circular 2020-029A of the LTFRB, 15 routes were supposed to be launched in Metro Manila last August 5 to service 968 traditional public utility jeepneys. However, operations of all modes of public transportation, including PUJs, have been suspended following the enforcement of MECQ in Metro Manila and nearby provinces from August 4 to 18. The LTFRB said that the following routes will be opened after the MECQ. Under the circular, units to service the approved routes could ferry passengers even without a special permit, but the agency reminded operators and drivers that a QR code will be required. The LTFRB warned that failure to comply with the guidelines set by the board will incur penalties such as imposition of fines or cancellation or suspension of the certificate of public convenience or provisional authority of the units. In Metro News, Manila, among cities with fewest COVID-19 deaths. Makati LGU to launch community vaccination drive versus pneumonia and flu. And business tax payment in Muntinlupa extended to September. More in this report.
The city of Manila is among the cities with the fewest COVID-19 deaths in Metro Manila, according to Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso. He also claimed that they have managed to limit the city's number of cases to 5,000 despite having dense population of up to 3 million people. Dumagoso also said the city's positivity rate, or the percentage of those who tested positive for the disease, is at 11%, while their case doubling time is at around 7 days. However, the Manila Mayor stressed that the danger of being infected with COVID-19 is still present in the city. That is why he reminded the Manila residents to continue practicing the health and sanitary protocols issued by the government to help fight the pandemic. The Makati City Government has launched a community vaccine drive against flu and pneumonia at the Barangay Pembo today. The Makati Health Department said residents will receive trivalent flu shots that cover 3 strains of influenza: Influenza A or H1N1, Influenza A or H3N2, and Influenza B. Mayor Abigail Binay said the program seeks to boost the immune system of residents and give them additional protection against the complications of COVID-19. The Department of Health earlier recommended the use of flu and pneumonia vaccines to prevent complications caused by COVID-19. Mayor Jaime Fresnedi signed City Ordinance number 2020-115 extends the payment deadline of business taxes, fees, and charges for the third quarter of the year from August 19 to September 18 without penalties, surcharges, and interests. According to the ordinance, the aforementioned circumstance will increase the economic difficulties currently being experienced by business sector, and it's paramount that the city government of Muntinlupa will extend the assistance to the private sector. Fresnedi assured the local business sector that the city government will continue to support them during this crisis.
And here are the top news in other parts of the country. Quirino's first COVID-19 case comes from governor's own residence. Western Visayas Police seized 2.64 million pesos worth of shabu in just 1 week. And Panabo City records first case of local transmission of COVID-19. More from this report.
Quirino Province Governor Daquila Carlo E. Pua confirmed on Tuesday, August 11, that his province recorded its first coronavirus disease case after his family's own house help tested positive for the virus. In a post on the provincial government's Facebook account, Pua said the result of a swab test conducted on their helper came back as positive on Monday night at their family residence in Cabarugis, Quirino. The patient had no travel history to other COVID-19 affected areas in the country and has had no close contact with any COVID-19 positive patients. Local authorities of the province are now conducting contact tracing, disinfection, and extensive investigation on the origin of the transmission to avoid further cases of COVID-19 in Quirino.
Dumating po ang information kahapon, na unexpected information na positive po ang resulta ng ating pasyente. Agad po tayong nakipag-coordinate sa ating mga doktor. Nagsimula na po tayo agad mag-contact tracing. Ganun pa man, siguro ang mensahe dito is mag-ingat tayong lahat. No? We never know where the danger is coming or where the infection will come from. Mas mabuti nang mag-ingat. Tayo po ay nagko-conduct ng intense investigation ngayon to find the source kung saan nga nahawa ang ating pasyente, para lalo nating ma-contain at agad nating ma-proteksyonan ang ating probinsya mula sa coronavirus.
The surge of coronavirus disease cases in Western Visayas region has not deterred anti-illegal drugs operations, as policemen in the region have seized 2.64 million pesos worth of shabu within a period of a week. In a data released by the Police Regional Office, police across the region were able to seize 348 grams of shabu from 42 people between August 1 to 7. The Capiz Police Provincial Office had the biggest haul, seizing 877,200 pesos worth of shabu and arrested 5 people. At least 667,032 pesos worth of shabu was seized by the Negros Occidental Police Provincial Office and 291,000 pesos by the Bacolod City Police Office. Aside from anti-drug operations, the police were also able to arrest 162 wanted persons during the week. The Panabo City Health Office confirmed the city's first case of local transmission after a healthcare worker tested positive for coronavirus disease last Saturday. In a statement, the city government of Panabo said the patient, who is a healthcare worker tagged as PC31, had no travel history to COVID-19 high-risk area. In an investigation, PC31 attended to a patient who was confined positive for COVID-19. All the healthcare workers in the health facility underwent swab testing after the patient tested positive for COVID-19. PC31 was among the 2 healthcare workers who tested positive, but only PC31 was considered as a case of local transmission based on the guidelines set by the DOH.
In world news, pre-orders of COVID-19 vaccine top 5 billion. New Zealand locks down all nursing homes after virus return. And Venice nurtures its lagoon back to health. Let's watch this report.
The coronavirus vaccines from various countries are still under development and not yet prove its efficacy in clinical trials. There have been at least 5.7 billion doses of vaccines are pre-ordered around the world. First shipments of a COVID-19 vaccine created by Western laboratories have often been snapped up by the United States. 5 vaccines, 3 Western and 2 Chinese, are in phase 3 efficacy trials involving thousands of people. In a surprise announcement, Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed Tuesday that a vaccine dubbed Sputnik V after the Soviet satellite conferred sustainable immunity against the novel coronavirus. Russia said 20 nations have pre-ordered 1 billion doses of Sputnik V, and that with foreign partners, but it would be able to produce 500 million doses a year in 5 countries. As research laboratories around the world race to develop a vaccine, manufacturers have received financing to help them prepare to have millions of doses ready to administer in 2021 or even before the end of the year. After a 102-day streak without the coronavirus record, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has ordered to lock down again New Zealand's nursing homes nationwide Wednesday. Ardern said authorities were scrambling to trace anyone who had been in contact with 4 Auckland residents who tested positive Tuesday, ending the dream run in which the virus had been contained at New Zealand's borders. A 3-day stay-at-home order for Auckland, New Zealand's biggest city with a population of 1.5 million, was announced on Tuesday night and went into force at lunchtime on Wednesday. Police in face masks manned roadblocks on major roads in Auckland to enforce the new measures. Ardern said health officials were also locking down aged care homes across the country because they could act as transmission hotspots. The outbreak could force Ardern to postpone next month's general election. Venice may be famed for St. Mark's Square or the Bridge of Sighs, but the Italian city has another jewel to overlook, its lagoon. An environmental project aims to restore it to its former glory, however, by introducing fresh water and expanding the reeds within the lagoon. For some fishermen and hunters, the lagoon represents life and world to them. They need to take care of it, preserve, and safeguard so they could enjoy it for a long time and pass it on to our children.
In entertainment, its official K-pop girl group BLACKPINK will feature American singer and actress Selena Gomez in their next single. YG Entertainment announced that the new single will be released on August 28, which will be the second song after BLACKPINK released their global hit How You Like That last June 26. This will be BLACKPINK's second collaboration this year after Lady Gaga featured them in the song Sour Candy as part of her album Chromatica that was released in May. In 2018, Dua Lipa and BLACKPINK collaborated in the song Kiss and Make Up. YG Entertainment said that BLACKPINK is planning to target the global market through systematic and clear plans and the practice of those plans in 2020. And in sports, Sotto's G League coach Brian Shaw, along with fellow NBA champion Glenn Rice, will take part in a virtual event dubbed as NBA Republica Playoffs Party on August 17. Shaw and Rice, who were part of Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant's first NBA championship with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2000, will take part in the online party set at 8 a.m. The former NBA veterans will be interviewed during the event, with Shaw expected to share his thoughts on having the 7'2" Sotto as part of the G League team, featuring some of the top young players from the United States. Under Shaw, Sotto will play for the G League squad, which will undergo training sessions and play exhibition games as part of their preparation for their plans to apply for the NBA draft. Shaw is also going to handle Phil-American Jalen Green, who opted to take the G League route instead of playing in the US NCAA after being ranked as a top high school prospect in the United States. And those are the news on Web today, August 12, 2020. For more news and details, get your copy of the Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. You may also subscribe to our newsletter through our link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin, celebrating its 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.